Welcome into Better and Green, and today we're breaking down the AFC South and the fantasy players that you may be targeting for your draft. We're going to be out in Canton, Ohio for the Fantasy Football Expo, so if you would like to go, we're giving away 5 free tickets. Make sure you subscribe to us, follow us on all of our socials. We'll be giving those away leading up to the Fantasy Football Expo, August 9th through the 11th. So we'd love to meet you guys there, talk to you. Make sure you guys come stop by our booth. We'd love to see you. We're going to have some free giveaways. It's going to be a great time. Also, if you want to see all of our fantasy football content and takes that we have for this year, make sure you guys head over to bettergreen.com. Check out our draft guide. We got our free copy from last year. Check it out, and then you'll see exactly what we have for this year, except we added a lot more stuff. We're really excited about it. Make sure you guys please go check it out. Right now it's 50% off too. Get it for $10, guys. It's absolutely worth it. Let's break down first the Houston Texans. I don't think it's crazy. I might be crazy. Let me know in the comments if I'm crazy. CJ Stroud could be the quarterback one this year. And I don't see why he couldn't. The big problem with the Houston Texans for fantasy this year is going to be there's so many good players and mouths to feed on this team. Like, are we just forgetting about John Mechie? And we've got Nico Collins. We got Tank Dell. And now you got Stephon Diggs. Oh, don't forget Dalton Schultz, the tight end who I've been banging his drum the last 2 years. And now they bring in Joe Mixon and still have Dameon Pierce want to roll for him. I think that both Dameon Pierce and Joe Mixon will have, I'd say they probably split pretty close to 50-50. Dameon Pierce looked horrible last year, I know. He's still their rookie. Joe Mixon looked pretty average on the Bengals. Bengals had a good offense. And Texans have a good offense too. He's a good goal line back. But I feel like him and Dameon Pierce are the same guy. Neither are very efficient with what they get. We'll see how they do behind that Houston Texans offensive line. But as far as the receivers go, I see some people putting Nico pretty high. I see some people putting Tank Dell really high. Stephon Diggs is kind of like being forgotten about. I will agree. I've been all in on Dalton Schultz the last couple of years. I'm out on him this year. I just think there's too many mouths to feed. I just don't think he's going to get the target volume and the yards and the touchdowns that he's going to need to be a consistent fantasy tight end for your team. Looking at the receivers, I would rather go with CJ Stroud and not worry about it. I think it is going to be a bit of a pain. I think there's going to be some weeks where it's Nico, some weeks where it's Tank Dell, some weeks where it's Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs, I still think, is the best receiver there. If I had Stephon Diggs as wide receiver 2, I think I'd be okay with that. Tank Dell, I feel like Tank Dell's more of a wide receiver 3. That might just be me. I know there's a lot of people out there that think he's going to be a wide receiver 1. I wouldn't feel really comfortable with him as a wide receiver 2. Nico Collins, probably I'd feel okay with him as a wide receiver 2. You're also looking at that division. We're not looking at a bunch of elite defenses here either. So I wouldn't be too upset about taking any of the Houston Texans players outside of Dalton Schultz, who I would stay away from. Defense, I think, is also going to be a sneaky stream play this year. Definitely not one of the ones you want to hold on to season long, but I think they can definitely be a spot play. Look at Jacksonville Jaguars. We got Trevor Lawrence. And we've seen a lot of comparisons, Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones. I know the stats look so similar, and you can make that argument. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he's better. You know he's better no matter how you want to cut it. If you're just looking at it from this player versus this player, nothing stood out about Mac Jones. But on the other side of that coin, Mac Jones hasn't really had the same weapons that Trevor Lawrence has had in his career. There's a lot of talk right now. I think Tank Bigsby, he's going to be going up the boards quite a bit because they're saying that they want to get ETN less involved. That's fine and great, except when Tank Bigsby's running for 2 yards a carry, and you're just going to give up on him by week 4. I think that ETN's going to be fine. I think he's going to get plenty of receptions. So PPR darling, absolutely. Travis Etienne, I'm not concerned about him. I think that you can still throw him in there. Evan Ingram, sneaky tight end that nobody wants. Everybody remembers his Giant days. And it's like, guys, you gotta let that go. You got to let that go. Ingram, since he's been on the Jaguars, has been much, much better. I think he'll be pretty decent this year as well. Don't worry about Gabe Davis. He's not filling in that Calvin Ridley role. Gabe Davis was spotty. He had some games where he's usable. He's probably on your bench when he did with Josh Allen. Now he goes to Trevor Lawrence, who is closer to Mac Jones than to Josh Allen. I don't see Gabe Davis being all that fantasy relevant. In best ball, I mean, is absolutely a person you could take a shot on. Season-long, dynasty, I'm out on Gabe Davis. I don't think I want any shares of him. Christian Kirk, number one with a good quarterback. I think he's probably going to go later than he should go. Christian Kirk would be a great 2. I think I'd be okay with him as my 1. I'd want a really good number 2, though. I'd want like a guy close to equal value with Kirk if Kirk was going to be my number 1. And then Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie coming in. He's good. He is good. I don't know about this year for fantasy purposes how well he's going to do. I could see probably like I know we're used to these receivers and these NFL rookies coming in and making an instant impact. That doesn't always happen. We kind of saw with Quentin Johnston last year where he just didn't look great, and then compared to the other guys, he wasn't great. I can kind of see that being Brian Thomas Jr., being a guy that comes in with quite a bit of hype and then kind of falls flat on his face. I say maybe like around 600-something yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns, I would say. So probably like I'd say probably a bench player. I don't think you'd leave him on the waiver wire because you can play him in like advantageous spots, but I wouldn't be putting any stock into Brian Thomas Jr. Looking at a dynasty standpoint, like I said, I don't see Gabe Davis being much of a factor. Brian Thomas could year 2, year 3 start really coming into his own. I'm not putting a whole bunch of eggs in that basket just because of the struggles we've seen with Trevor Lawrence so far. And I'm not completely sold on Brian Thomas Jr. either. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans. This is a team that I love to hate on. I was one game off of their exact record last year, I believe. I said maybe 6-11. They ended 5-12, or I got that reversed. They did a lot of good things this offseason. Getting rid of Derrick Henry, that hurts. They brought in Tony Pollard. Then they still got DeAndre Hopkins. You add Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd. Chig is a guy that I think he's going to be decent. Now that Chiggy doesn't have to carry that load and be that guy, he can just be a complimentary role player. I think he'll be pretty decent. I'd still probably stay away from him in fantasy because I don't really know where these targets are going. DeAndre Hopkins, I'm not trusting him to stay healthy. I mean, every year he gets another year of wear and tear. We've seen this guy have some injuries. And, with Hopkins, he showed out pretty good last year. He proved a lot of doubters wrong. It's just at one point, it always catches up to you. So with DeAndre Hopkins, unless I can get him later, I probably don't want him where he's going at in ADP right now. Calvin Ridley, same thing. He's going to be coming in. I think he's probably better at this stage of his career than DeAndre Hopkins is, but he's going to have to learn this new system. And once again, it was kind of a lackluster season last year for Calvin Ridley. Maybe it was because of the year off. Who knows? I think he'll be decent. Tyler Boyd, he'll be just like I think he was with the Bengals. He'll be a decent, reliable third piece. And then drafting J.C. Latham, I think that was a great pick for them, the left tackle. I believe he's slotted to play for them. Great guy. I think he will really give Levis that time that he needs. Because I think that Latham is going to be a pretty solid pick. And that's one of the problems with a lot of these teams that we see that were pretty bad last year is just that offensive line. If they don't give you time to throw, you're just not going to be a good team. And with this team, you got Tyjae Spears too. Spears is a guy I kind of like quite a bit coming up because you can get him pretty late. And I'm not completely sold on Pollard. We saw him his first year without Zeke kind of flop. And now we're getting him again with a pretty bad offensive line. And guys, the last team that we have is the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to get a lot of hate comments here probably, but I don't like Anthony Richardson. He could not stay healthy in college. He's not been healthy in the NFL. Don't even try to hit me with the freak injury stuff because the dude was like getting injured every single game. I don't believe in him in a 2-quarterback league. Gosh, I'm out on Richardson. I don't really want any part of Richardson. I think the Colts will be fine, but for fantasy wise, I don't like him. Michael Pittman, I think will be fine. Michael Pittman's like, I would say, a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. I do like the Adonai Mitchell signing. I think that's going to hurt Alec Pierce and Josh Downs. I do think it's going to affect their reception totals and their looks, kind of wiping them all out of the fantasy conversation for me. I think they're all going to have some games where they do really well, and I think a lot of the times we're going to see them like in the 40 to 60 yard range with 3 or 4 receptions, and then a touchdown every 4 games, something like that. I don't see any of these guys being great. I really liked Adonai Mitchell coming out of college. The counterpiece to Xavier Worthy coming out of Texas, he seemed like he's great to me. I heard that there were character concerns around Adonai Mitchell. You know, right now, if it's fantasy football, that's not my concern at the moment. Mitchell for Dynasty, I like quite a bit. I do like him quite a bit because I think he's much better than Pierce. I think he's much better than Downs. Any of these other guys, like, don't even get me started on Doolin. Pittman, I think that he's going to be a foundational piece, and I think that Adonai Mitchell could be another great addition too. I think worst case scenario, he's like a Gabe Davis. Just, he has really good games, and he has games where he just kind of lays a stinker. Jonathan Taylor, I've been always on the Jonathan Taylor train. I'll be completely transparent with you there. I've always liked Jonathan Taylor. They still got Quentin Nelson, a pretty good offensive line. With Taylor, he can do everything. Zach Moss is gone. I know some people thought Zach Moss was competing with him. I don't know how much of it was maybe a load management thing with Jonathan Taylor. We'll see now. Right now he's got Trey Sermon backing him up. So we'll see how that actually pans out in the end. But with Jonathan Taylor, I just feel like he can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He's a goal line back. He's everything you want for fantasy. So I'm going to take him as my running back 1. I wouldn't fault you for taking him in the first round. I just think that he's that good and he's in that good of a situation. Anthony Richardson, sure, he might steal some touchdowns from Jonathan Taylor, but, I mean, Jalen Hurts was stealing from DeAndre Swift. Swift was still fairly relevant last year. He's going to steal some from Barkley this year. It just happens. Tom Brady would do his 1-yard sneak, steal touchdowns too. You were still drafting LeGarrette Blount back in the day. Like, come on. It happens. It's just part of fantasy. It's going to be annoying, but you're going to get over it. Tight end, Jelani Woods. I mean, I wish this guy was better. I really would love to play Jelani Woods and have him be a fantasy relevant tight end all the time. Dude's just massive. Unfortunately, I just don't think he's ever going to be the type of player that can consistently catch the ball, get open, and just really be a focal point of the offense. So I am not in on Jelani Woods. I will not have any shares of him. And like I said, I don't think I'll have any shares of Anthony Richardson. I just think he's going too high in drafts, and I don't want to take the risk that is associated with him. And if you guys want more player breakdowns, I'll be doing an episode for every division. But if you want the full statistical analysis, along with the BPGS system, which is our very own developed method about gauging a player's bust and breakout rate, please make sure you guys check out our draft guide. It's on our website, bettergreen.com. That's better, BETTOR green.com. Right now, it's 50% off. You guys can get it for $10. And also, if you're having a live draft, guys, you need to check out draftkits.co. They have the best stickers in the game. The guys that run it over there, they're typical bros. They're just like us. Fantastic guys. We love working with them every year. Please check them out. They have some of the cheapest draft kits. They ship super fast. They will ship it in the tube. They will fold it up. Don't get it folded up though. This is just from me to you guys. This is not paid anything, but you don't want wrinkles in your draft board. Just get it rolled up. No matter where you order it from, just get it rolled up from. But if you are ordering it, use our code BIG24 over at draftkits.co. That'll get you guys 10% off. An excellent live draft kit, guys. Draft board, draft stickers. everything you're going to need. And thank you guys for watching. Please leave me a comment down below about an AFC South breakout or bust that you've been targeting. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, guys.
You better start listening to the Better in Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome, welcome to our podcast. Better in Green.